Hi all and welcome to Sheltered, a game on Steam. This is not an early access title, for once. It is a full game, and it is a game developed by Unicube and published by Team 17. If that name sounds familiar, they are the ones behind publishing Worms, game that I'm sure you will remember. Well, this game is, as the store page describes, a deep emotional survival management game. You take on the role of protecting 4 family members who, after a global apocalypse, have found their way to a deserted shelter. Sounds good. At least I thought so. So I thought I would bring you a look at what this gameplay is like to see whether you would think the same. Just to give you a highlight of some of the features, the list is as follows. Family comes first. Keep your family alive and protect them from the ravages of the harsh, post-apocalyptic world. Make this shelter a home. Maintain your shelter, keep it secure, habitable, and make sure that the family have enough resources to survive. Protect your shelter from hazards and infiltration. Customization. Your family is unique to you. You decide their gender, names, and their appearances. There are RPG mechanics. As your family develop, their stats will adapt with an evolving experience and trauma system. Everything changes based on your decisions. There's a crafting system where you can craft weapons and comforts. Exploration. You can send your family out to explore and gather resources. A recruitment system where you can recruit outsiders with different personalities, integrate them into your shelter, and earn their loyalty. There is a dynamic encounter system. Your family will encounter various threats, including factions. It is a turn-based combat. There are pets, there are vehicles, and there is a whole lot more. I can tell you from personal experience, this game is highly addictive. It is such fun, even though you may not think it is to begin with. But from streaming it, I can tell you that people have loved to watch it and have even themselves gone to buy it. So that's the overview of the game, but I want to actually show you what the game is like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you an end game section of the game, if you want to miss that, in case there are any spoilers. Though, as I said, there's a lot of customization in this game. Just fast forward the video until you see this title video again, and then I'm going to show you how the game begins so you can see what it's roughly like. A little bit of gameplay, not much, just to give you a taste. If you like it, the link is below in the description to the Steam store page. I'm not sure if it's available on any other platform, but if you like it, do go and check it out. It is a single player game, just so you know, but I think a lot of people enjoy that, especially those who watch my channel. So, without further ado, let's head into my Twitch family, who have survived for 111 days on normal, because I did try it for the very first time with this family. So here we go. The first thing I will do when we load in is I will slow the time down, because there's a lot going on in my world. Okay, so slowing the world down. This is how you see your shelter when you first come in. You'll be zoomed in. You can zoom out, and as you can see, I have quite a big shelter. You have to build all of this. You start off with just this up here, okay, and you can see the top of the world up here. I have 2 people here, and as you can see, that's the way in. There's the hatch up here. We have the doors, we have some radiation suits, and we have a whole lot of stuff. And we have Mir, our cat. And I have built almost everything in here. You basically just start off with a radio, your book, and your map, your radiation suits, and your generator. And I think this pantry, and this medicine cabinet, and this crate, and I think. And that's about it, really. And as you'll see when I get to that point, So you can see you can build a lot. You can build beds. You start off with no beds. You can build showers, toilets. You have a workbench. You have bookshelves, punch bags, recyclers, fridges, freezers, water condensers, ammunition makers, laboratories, planters, coffee machines. You have so much you can build in this game, and you have to go out and pick up materials in order to build anything. You have to maintain things, so you have to fix things. You can upgrade things so they get better. You have to look after all of your people, so they have thirst, hunger, tiredness. They need to go to the bathroom. They need to have a shower. They might get stressed out and you need to take care of them, so they may need to read or play with toys or even take medicine. And yet they have trauma. Everything that happens to them, like if they see somebody die, and your people can die, then you have to have they receive trauma. If they kill people, there may be trauma. And you need to bury people. You need to clean the shelter as well. You need to defend it, set up traps, and various other kinds of things. And you can put them anywhere you want to. You can arrange your shelter as you want to. You can rearrange your shelter. You can deconstruct things. And you have to constantly look after your people, look after your shelter. But that isn't it. Perfect timing. We've just had a transmission come in because we actually have 6 people in this shelter, and I have sent 4 of them out. And this is a transmission from one group of them. This is our mother, Carolyn to base. We found something at this mountain pass. Are you interested? So you can choose if you want to leave the things or if you want to examine what they have. So you can see this is what she's carrying and this is what she can pick up. So we select what we want, what we don't want, we can put things away, and we can confirm it. So she's out searching, but that's not the only kind of message that you might get. You might get a message where they have to meet somebody or they have to fight somebody, and then you're taken out of the shelter. Oops, I'm zooming in there. You're taken out of the shelter into the actual wasteland to take care of whatever happens. So you're not only taking care of what's happening in here, but you're also taking care of your people out there. And you have to decide. Another perfect timing, you can get people wandering across. You can get animals wandering across. And they can even come down here to attack you, to trade with you, to ask to come and live with you. And again, we have another transmission. We found a cave, should we check it out? So they ask you what they want to do. You can tell them to keep going, you can tell them to search, which is what I'm doing. And so there's a lot that happens in this game, and it gets very... You can have up to 15 people within your shelter. And so, as I was about to say, it gets very... Well, a lot goes on. Let's just say that. It can really be complicated, and that's why you may want to slow the time down. So here we go. Here we go. This is a perfect example. Paul, this is one of our children, has found somebody in a cave, and they're going to go and talk to them. So you can either sneak away or talk to them. So if you say talk to them, you get taken to where they are in the wasteland to decide what you're going to do. You have stats, so you have your charisma, your intelligence, your dexterity, and your strength, but you don't know what they have. Okay, so they could be friendly, they could be they could want to attack you, or they could want to trade with you, or they might just not want to do anything with you, or they might run away. And as you can see, I have well armed my people. This is the end game. So let's just get on with this. So in this instance, they haven't wanted to just attack me, but I can choose to trade, recruit them, bully them, or run away from them. So say I want to trade. My character asks, and he can then decide if he wants to attack you, or not have anything to do with you, or trade with you. On this instance, he says that he will trade. So we go to a trade screen, and we can decide if we want anything of theirs, and what we want to give them. Each thing, as you can see by the trade button there, has a trade value. Okay? So each thing that you want costs a certain amount, and each thing that you have has a trade value. So you have to decide whether what you want is desperate enough to take it and trade for it, or if you want anything at all, and what you're going to give them for it. In this instance, I don't want anything from him, so I just say no. And in sometimes they can be unhappy with you for that. Other times, they can be happy. And whatever you've decided to do affects the people that you are actually using to speak. So I chose to speak with Mom there, so if we would have traded, Mom would have got points in her charisma. If I would have chosen Paul, he would have got points. But as we didn't trade, we got nothing. So now we go back to the shelter. And here we can see, up here, this is our daughter and the father. They are just coming back from an expedition. And they will come back and drop everything off. And here we find what is in the cave. We can again choose to take it or leave it. I'm going to take it all. I've got plenty of space. And so we take it. And that is essentially what the game is like. You get rain, which is one of the only ways to get water. It is the only way to get water in the early game, because you can only get that later on. And you need to store water. Going on missions requires water. Sometimes it will require fuel. It may require food. This is how much food, water, fuel, and oxygen you have in the shelter. You need to take care of these, which are your oxygen and water filters. People, if you don't trade with them or you don't accept them in your shelter, can come and attack these. Everything starts to wear down in time, so you have to maintain everything. You can grow plants, you can have hiding places. There's a lot that you can do in this game. So, I'm going to now go to the beginning of the game to show you how you begin and what the gameplay is actually like. This is just to give you an idea of what the game contains. Okay? So, let's go back out of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you now what the game is actually like from the beginning. So, if you've just joined me and you haven't watched the spoilers section of this video, we're going to just begin from the beginning. Only a little, just to show you what you can do. So, let's play a new game. And we've just opened the shelter. So we get to choose difficulty, and it tells you what it actually means. So if we go on hard, we have a poor chance of rain. We have thin resources on the map. There's a frequent chance to be attacked. There's heavy factions. The people aren't so friendly towards you. You have a large map, and you don't know what's gonna happen on the map between your travels. Whereas on normal, good chances of rain, moderate amount of resources, only occasionally will you get attacked, moderate amount of factions, people are kind of cautious but they're okay to you. It's a normal sized map and there's no fog of war. So you can have hard and you can have hardcore, which makes all of this even more difficult. And you can have even easy, where everything is super easy. So we'll just go with normal for now, just so I can show you. And we're going to load a preset family? No. We're going to customize a family. Okay? So here you can design your people as you want them. You can have all males, all females. You can have heterosexual couples. You can have homosexual couples. You can have any race. You can have any combination of any of these things. So you can decide what color clothes they're going to wear, what gender they are. You can decide what color their outfit is on the top and the bottom. You can decide what their skin color is. You can decide what their hair color is, their head type, their body type, their legs. And you can also decide their traits. So, are they resourceful? Are they hygienic? Are they a small eater? And so on. You can do things with their stats. So, this one has a good upbringing, and these are what the stats are for someone with a good upbringing. Or I could have somebody who's well educated, and this is their stats. Or I can just randomize the people, and who knows what I'm going to end up with. So let's just say we're going to do that, okay? Just to see what happens. And you have no idea. You may end up with people who are hard to deal with. You may end up with people who are easy to deal with. You get to type in your family name. You get to choose which kind of pet you want, and you get to choose the name. You can save this family as a preset if you wish, or you can have them random every time. So let's just say we're going to do this. We're not going to play the tutorial. You can have the tutorial, which I would advise to do if you play the game for the first time. I know what I'm doing though, so I'm going to skip that just to get to the interesting part. So as you can see, we have a horse up here. Let's slow it down. And that is all we have to our shelter. It's a mess. We've just found it. We don't have a bed. We don't have anywhere to cook. We don't have hardly anything at all. And we have wooden doors protecting us. Okay, we have a broken down van that we can fix up if we get the stuff out in the middle of nowhere. We have barely any fuel, barely any food and water. And we have our people here. So what we need to do at the beginning is we need to send somebody down to the workbench, which is down here, ask them to craft something, and we can only craft things on tier 1 because that's all we have on our workbench. And we just have to decide what we want to craft. Do we want to craft a room, a snare, first aid kit, another water thing, a gas mask, which is what you need to go outside, otherwise you'll get radiation poisoning. Speaking of, you can get food poisoning, you can bleed, you can have infections, you can have rats in your shelter if you don't clean it up. You can get ill if you don't clean things, you can get ill if you don't wash up before eating. Lots of things. So we have sleeping bag, which is all we can do. We can't make beds. We can have a makeshift bucket toilet and a makeshift shower. There's lots of different things that we can build. And as we upgrade the workbench, we can get more. And so whatever we want to do, if we wanted to build, say, a sleeping bag, which we would need because otherwise you cannot sleep, we tell somebody to go and do that. Then we click on somebody else and tell them what we want them to do. Now, we're going to want a toilet, so we're going to click on the toilet, and then we click on the child. Oh, and we're going to want to have a shower, so we click on the shower. And then we click on our other child, and we're going to want a mop and bucket, so we can clean up in case we have a dirty shelter. So if we go to normal time, off they go. They're all building their individual things. It's costing some of the resources that we have already found in here. And we build. And that is essentially what the game is about. You have to build each thing in your shelter. It looks like we have parts to upgrade our system. As I said, you can zoom in or you can zoom out depending on what you want to do. You can speed up time. You can slow down time. You can zoom in or zoom out using this button. And so now we have a bed, a mop bucket, a toilet, and a shower. So we can tell people to sleep if we want. We can tell them to go to the toilet. We can even click on these little icons here, and they will take care of themselves with these things. They will, if they're thirsty, they will go and get a drink. If they're hungry, if you have somewhere where they can eat, at the moment we've only got a pantry, we don't have a stove, they can go and eat. They'll do all of that themselves. They'll sleep, they'll go to the toilet, they'll have a shower. If you turn that off, you have to tell them all that themselves. Sometimes you'll want to do either. Like if you don't have much water, you'll want to turn that off so they don't go to the shower. If you have lots of everything, you can turn that on and don't have to worry about looking after them all the time. Though you will have to constantly make sure you fix things. You can turn off lights to save your electricity. And we can build more. We can build more things. We can go over here and we can set up an expedition. So we can choose who we want to go. Let's say we just want one person to go. We click on the map. We can zoom out on the map and we have different places that we can go and explore, looking for resources. But you have to be careful because you only have a certain amount of water, and these people in the shelter need water who are staying behind, but it costs water to go out. So if we wanted to send one person to the school and back, it's going to cost us 4 water. If we wanted to send them also to the farm, we can do it for still 4. We can send them to all 3 places for 4. But if we wanted to send them over here as well, it's going to then cost us 9. Which will leave us with 6 water for 3 people in the shelter. That's to drink, to go to the toilet, and to eat and have a shower. So you want to be careful on what you're going to do. If you decide that, you then have to decide what you're going to send them with. If you're going to send them with anything to trade, or if you're going to send them with any health to take care of themselves, any anti-radiation, and so on. These are for things like armor and gas masks. This is for things like bags to have extra carry weight, and this is for your weapons. And the party shares different things. So if you have bullets, they can share bullets and so on. But we're not going to send this person out. That's just to show you how it's done. And you can choose as many of these people to go out as you want, as long as you've got the water. You can also have people broadcast for traders, for recruits. You can scan for frequencies to see whether or not there are any specific people out there before you send people out and what is out there. The harder difficulties you get, the more you have to be resourceful and careful, especially with when you're sending people out, because your people can get attacked by anyone and they can die. The harder it gets, the more chances you've got of being killed. And that is basically what it is. You can upgrade your doors to different kinds, but you need to get whatever it is you need to do so. And you can upgrade your filters and so on. Depending on what pet you have, you can do different things with them. You see, you can have to feed the pets, you have to medicate them, you can perhaps ride the horse, I don't know, I've never used the horse. You can have other kinds of pets, and each one has a special skill. So the cat that I had keeps rats away. You can have a dog who will protect you, and so on and so forth. And that is essentially what it is. You have to build more things in your shelter. So say I wanted to build another room, I can choose where I want the room. At the moment I can only have it there or there because I haven't built any further. So I can send somebody down to build a room, and that's how you expand your shelter. And that's what you have to do. Look after your people, get resources, take care of them so they don't get killed, and expand your shelter. Give them the resources they need. Decide what you want to build. Do you want them to live in the lap of luxury? Do you want them to have only the bare minimum so you can build extra traps to protect yourself? Do you want to keep just your 4 people? Or do you want to recruit everyone you can? Or just some? What are you going to do? Are you going to build them to have lots and lots of ammo? Are you going to have them growing food for themselves? Are you going to have them become traders? All of it is up to you. How you design the shelter, where you put things, all determines how they work efficiently, where the water is, where the food is, and so on, and what people will do when they come in, what they can destroy. If people do break in, you have to hide, you have to have traps, you have to put out fires, you have to manage what happens. There's so much you can do. And so that is what the game is like. Build your shelter, look after your family, survive in the wasteland. And as I said, I find this game incredibly addictive. So, if you like what you've seen, take a look at it. Give it a chance. It's cheap. Support the independent developers. And let me know in the comments whether or not you did enjoy it. Thank you very much. I will now leave this family alone, and I will end this video. And I hope it has been helpful to you. I hope that you have seen what the game can actually be like. As I said, it's just a short highlight of the video rather than a full gameplay. Just to tease you with it and to show off the game. So I will leave the video now, and I will leave you, and I will say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you do try Sheltered and you find it as fun as I did. Take care. I will see you soon.